if you can get into the sort of racial disparities as to how sex crimes are prosecuted and pursued, the issue People versus Brock Turner brought up a lot of that. A lot of that was discussed, including the fact that the judge used judicial discretion to have a more lenient sentence. If you can kind of discuss those issues or anything you're comfortable discussing.
Any crime, murder, rape, robbery, even a DUI, is investigated through the lens of the persons who are in the position to make arresting decisions, charging decisions, a jury that is in the position to determine if you're responsible, and a judge ultimately making a decision about what kind of penalty you're going to have. We'll have to be aware and understand that in all places, we're subject to being seen differently. And I say we, people of color. In this particular area, even more so because of the sad historic history and perception that society has with Black men and how we're seen, and what may seem as a maybe someone initiating an activity, a young person of color, can be viewed from the lens of people who are sometimes inherently biased as being aggressive, as being forceful. If we're talking about situations where the races are involved, African American men and Latino men of color being accused of sexual assault with women who are not of color. That creates a scenario, that creates a situation that requires people being objective. And oftentimes that's a challenge because there's not a whole lot of objectivity. People bring into their decision-making and their investigation the things that they're familiar with. And people of color are seen, unfortunately, as being inherently more aggressive, as being forceful, as being the persons that are taking advantage of someone that's vulnerable, which is why this book is extremely important for people of color, because now I'm trying to put you on notice that this is going to be a very long and challenging journey if you find yourself in this situation. Ideally, avoid it so you don't have to go through it and be judged by all of the people who may not see you the way that you should be seen.
Yeah, and just one more thing about the book that I want to point out is in the very beginning, you talk about prison and what it's like to go inside of a prison and the scene and the sights and the smells. And you say something really profound, which is, if you end up in a prison convicted of a sex crime, the smell is the least of your worries. Can you talk about that? A very, very profound statement.
Yeah, it is. Sure. When you are prosecuted, charged, and convicted of a sex crime, particularly if it's with a person that's underage, you're branded. And when you're branded and you go to prison, people will seek you out to do harm to you, particularly if it's a person underage. There are numerous situations where the person who is convicted and on their way to prison, once they're there, they're going to get what we call shame. They're going to get cut. There's a scar over the forehead and over the eye that scars you and brands you as a sexual predator, which makes everything about prison, which is already horrible, 10 times worse. Important to know, that is what you're signing up for, not signing up for, but that is what you're going to be exposed to when you are being investigated, charged, and if you're eventually convicted of this particular type of crime. Jail by itself is already a funky place. That's what I write in my book. I've been into probably every jail that you can imagine up and down the state of California and some places in Texas as well. And every time, probably gone 1,000 times, I can't wait to get out. And I'm not even incarcerated, I'm just visiting. because the smell is there, the stress is there, the sadness is there, when those doors close and that window locks and all of the things that take place, that is not a place that we are built to be in. People make the best they can. They become institutionalized. They find a way to get through it, but that is not where you want to be. If anything in the book helps you understand how to avoid and why to avoid being part of or being on this journey, my description of what jail looks like and feels like and smells like, with me just being on the other side, should be enough to encourage you to do everything you can to avoid these environments.